The Nomads and their horse archers are hands down the strongest factions in the game. Hello Senators and Legates, welcome to Total War Tactics. Today we're going to take a closer look at a tactic which has shown to be very effective in real life. So good in fact, the only reason this might fail is due to the lack of skill from the player itself. Wish me luck guys. As you can see, we're going to be doing this in Rome 2 with the Divide Et Impera mod enabled. We're going to be covering the same regular topics as always, but this time keeping a timeline on the right side of the screen. If there are any parts of the video you want to see, there are timestamps in the description for you to use. In the last video I asked what tactics you wanted me to cover. Thank you very much for your many recommendations. I will start working on those as soon as this video is over. But with that said, let's introduce the tactic. The good old hit and run tactic is one many have heard of in their time. The Romans faced this tactic on many occasions. First when they came into contact with the Fiesta Citani in Iberia. Even more so as they started to fight the Parthians. Here one of the richest men of all time, Marcus Licinius Crassus, was lured into the desert, caught in open terrain against the mobile Parthian horse archers led by Surena. They got decimated, giving them little to no chance. This battle in turn helped cause the downfall of the Roman Republic and rise of the empire. But that is another story. This of course was a long time ago, however it is one of the most frequently used tactics in modern day. Just look at the war in Afghanistan and Iraq. It was used there in almost all of the engagements. I will leave those wars there as they might be a bit sensitive for some people. But overall you should understand the effectiveness of this tactic throughout both ancient and modern history. This is just me taking the piss here, but in theory the hit and run tactic can be implemented in modern life as well. For example, if I find a topic that is very popular on YouTube and I make one video on it just to never make another one again, it is hit and run tactic. And with that small bit of banter over, let's talk about how we will do this in Rome 2. The main premise of this tactic is to hit the enemy wherever you outnumber them and then retreat as soon as enough damage is done or before reinforcements arrive. Just like in history, the easiest way to implement this in battle is through horse archers or general mounted units. Of course, this is also possible to do with regular infantry. However, this is the perfect chance for me to have some fun with the nomadic factions. The tricky part of this tactic is to make your enemy split off into smaller groups. If you play against the AI, it should be easy enough. But against the player, it all depends on whether he's playing honorable or is a complete that forms up in a new box. To be fair, it is a viable tactic as shown by the Scots during their War of Independence. We're gonna form up in what resembles a crescent formation. Basically we will move up and use our wings to draw out the enemy. Once that is done, our central contingent will rush over to hit them from all sides. This process shall be continued throughout the battle until you are out of ammunition. If this happens while you play your campaign, I suggest retreating after running out of ammo. If your enemy follows up with a second battle, your ammo supply will be replenished and thus ready for another battle. Remember, you can only retreat once. The second battle will always be a battle to the death. But if it is just an online battle like these ones today, your only option is to charge. For that you need units with both good charge speed and bows to fire. And let's talk about those. So, usually whenever I fight online battles, my friends and I have a couple of rules we follow. One of them being 5 cavalry tops and 5 skirmisher units at most, including horse archers. As you can hear, that is basically to counter this tactic. mostly because it is only fun for one player. I therefore don't recommend this tactic unless you want new friends, and with that said, we'll bend the rules today just for this one. I'm gonna play as the Roxolani. And this is my army. As you can see, we don't have the max amount of units we are allowed to, and that is solely due to the insane cost of cavalry. But that is fine. We will just have to use mobility and speed to our advantage. We got a lot of the cheaper cavalry, yet we are still relying on these armored horse archers with lancers to win the battle. Once they run out of ammo, they will be able to do rear charges. Originally, I wanted this to be a horse army fight from both sides, but as I forgot to mention this to Gio, my opponent for today, he brought the Scythians with mostly infantry and following the rules I mentioned earlier. A mistake I almost feel sorry for making. Still, this is the perfect reason to show why we have these rules. I won't let you wait. Let's go. The Crescent formation was in full effect. Our elite horse archers were kept in reserve, as the ones on the wing are much faster and thus easier to micromanage. We started to harass his flanking spearmen and tried to stay out of the range of his archers. Too focused on the left, a single unit was left vulnerable. Not willing to let this slide, our cavalry rushed in, smashing them so severely they routed. Gio did try to catch the engaged units, but with us sending reinforcements from the center and us being faster, he pulled back. By now I realized his only true threat was his cavalry, so I pulled my central melee cavalry over to that side as a screening force. This allowed our elite units to fill out the central spot instead. Just in time as well, as he made an unexpected charge. Our cavalry would intercept the units from the front, and if they hadn't been there, our horse archers would have been crushed from his units, now appearing from behind. A great move by Gio. However, we just saved our important horse archers by sending in a single heavily armored unit, retreating with the rest. Don't forget, all of our other units were still chipping down the enemy infantry on the other flank. Basically, it concluded with us losing the cheap melee units and 2 elite cavalry. A bad loss, however, now Gio's cavalry was weakened and out of formation. We would pick them off with our superior numbers and focus down any infantry away from the main group. After some hunting and intense fighting, we pulled out to regain our stamina and encircle the last units he still had left. Once in position, we charged the vulnerable side of every unit and secured the victory. Here are the statistics from the battle. As you can see, our cheap melee units didn't get that many kills, but were still vital in saving us from Gio's incredible deception tactic. I'm quite jealous he pulled it off before I did in a video. Well done, man. As mentioned earlier, this tactic is much easier to use against the AI. We will approach, lure out the cavalry, take them out, find the skirmishers, which proved to be quite problematic in this one, but once it is done, encircle the enemy and take out small groups of units at a time. If you get bored like I did, just charge from all sides and crush them. It says it is a close victory, but if we had the infinite wealth of gold from an actual campaign, we could have a much stronger army to eliminate the enemy. All round our units did excellent, apart from 2 of my cheap lancers that accidentally got caught in a cavalry engagement. In terms of how to defeat this tactic, there are 3 main ways. Make a noob box of swords, like the Scots did, with their skill transformation, to make sure your units can't get recharged. Second, the need for long-range skirmishers, such as slingers or Mauryan archers. Keep them behind your infantry and let them cause havoc in the enemy cavalry horde. They will pretty much melt, as shown from the Wedge video, where my Mauryan archers crushed Immersaholic's horse archers. The third way could be by countering this ranged focused army with a melee focused one. Basically a horse-on-horse action. If you manage to catch the enemy, the melee units should win quite decisively. Overall, this tactic is crazy strong. You saw how I won those battles, and I barely used horse archers before this battle. I've only tried them on occasion, and that is just one more proof for how powerful this is. The rules we make are there for a reason. Or what do you think? Should we remove the rules? Let me know in the comments.